Was good, LinkedIn. So this goes out. This is just be a little sales tip. Uh, that's always helped me scale above a lot of people that don't think about things from a, how does this impact the entire organization type versus, oh, this is just one specific department, right? So in order to, let's go shoot out to, this can be applied to anybody or whatever your product solves or whatever your product or service, whatever challenges they solve, know those challenges and know that if they're having those challenges, what the impact of those challenges are for the entire organization, the ripple effect, right? Because if you can figure that out and think about it from a business standpoint, think about that's when you can start having those conversations with CFOs, CEOs, because let's put it into shipping, right? They don't handle shipping, but they do handle, business decisions from, a 10,000 foot overview. So, when I talk about things like, okay, I'm going to go qualify. Well, a lot of people don't qualify. Like they think about just shipping as like everybody ships, right? Let's just face it. Everybody ships. Well, most people. But what are like now, what does your company solve? What does your 3PL or whatever solve? What challenges? What departments are having these challenges? And then what's the financial impact of those challenges on the entire organization, right? So that's where my brain is thinking, because you're going to get spun down, right? They don't, CFO, for instance, doesn't handle shipping. And I always get it, right? Oh, I don't handle shipping. Well, listen, I understand you don't handle shipping, but I was able to have a good conversation with your controller, and he was letting me know that your current process right now, you guys mark it up just 12% and allocate that 12% as a cost of transportation. But he did say you guys are, it's not holding true. It's a manual process, and he just doesn't have the metrics to show them actually what the cost to serve is per customer and location. Did you know the financial impact that was having on your company? It is still supply chain, but just a different way of learning that way. Right now, it's like it's an entire different conversation, and those are things that you need to, especially if you want to go into like more of a consulting or less transactional type of sale. Those are things that you need to start paying attention to and learning about versus the masses of just like rates are going up, rates are going down. Okay, that's great, and there's some impact that has on a company, but what happens, like at some point you can't just keep looking at it as that's the only thing, and that's the biggest impact that logistics has. No, don't settle yourself for that. Secondly, go do the work. I'm not the smartest person out there. You see a lot of people way smarter than me. They read a bunch, or they sound like Google. But here's the difference: is when you've done it over and over and over again and been in the situations that some people talk about that they've never been in, it's just different. You just know it's like, yeah, that doesn't really happen like that, or and that sounds good, but have you ever really done an implementation with, or have you ever met with a CFO or CEO, or are you watching a video? There's a lot of, go do it. It's not that scary. It's only going to put you in a better spot. I see it all the time as, people that just, haven't learned the entire process, and it ends up biting them in the ass in the long run, right? They spend a lot of time running shitty meetings that aren't going anywhere, versus the person that knows how to cold call, learns that how to spot red flags, or I say eel in the deal, how to spot an eel in the deal or a flag in the deal a lot sooner than someone that doesn't know that. So learn the process in the beginning. It's always going to be a value. Everybody has to sell, or if you want to make a ton of money, you got to learn how to do that. If you want to if you always want to be able to put money or put food on your table, learn it, because at some point it's comforting to know if shit hit the fan today, or if you know, if say, for instance, you were to, something bad happened and you lost your job, you know, you'd be all right because guess what? You could feed yourself and you know the entire process and you know you'll be all right, versus not knowing how to do it and not have practicing it, not getting good at it, and just been the person that just either just talked about a bunch of shit that didn't matter or you never done, or a person that just was waiting for, you know, something to get, you know, handed to them. That's no longer there. Now you got an issue, right? So go do it. So recap this, learn the impact, learn the challenges that your product or service solves, and then learn the impact that has on the entire organization. Those challenges have on the entire organization. Learn that, qualify. People say, you know, it's a numbers game. Well, listen, yeah, it is a numbers game, but I'd rather have quality and quantity, and I would rather work smarter and harder. They do go hand in hand. So numbers, yes, but make them quality, right? Have some meat on the bone. If you're not trying to reinvent the wheel on anybody, but if you're looking to be more of a strategic consulting type logistics salesperson, these are things you gotta know, you gotta learn, and then just go do it. There's gonna be out there's again, then just go do it. Start just doing it. I'm not, like, again, I'm not the smartest. I'm never the smartest in the room, but I could probably set more. I've probably set more meetings than I know for a fact than anybody I've ever, you know, worked with, you know, CFOs, CEOs of companies that are $1 billion, right? And again, not the smartest person. I just think differently than most, right? And I do it though. I do it, and that's going to put you in a better spot always, right? And it's just going to separate you, especially in the logistics industry. It's going to separate you. You're going to need smart people. There's definitely people I bring in my meetings that are way smarter than me, but they also don't. But what they lack is certain things that you learn throughout the process, right? Like I said, is you learn how to spot red flags, you learn how to expedite things, you learn how to just have conversations that, and I'm talking like real conversations, not this lovey-dovey stuff. You learn to have some business conversations, and you're not wasting anyone's time. You know, you just can read, you read situations different, and you'll start seeing other things where you're like, oh, that person doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? You'll just start seeing things differently. So that's my Saturday rant. But learn the challenges, be a resource, be a resource, not an order taker. The more challenges you can solve, the more valuable you are. Beats talking, right? The more valuable challenges you can solve, the more valuable you are. Don't just word vomit a bunch of shit about, oh, I read this article. Start talking about things you actually, and then you can start building credibility. I think a lot of times people think credibility is like, oh, listen, this person loves me. I was on this video. Okay, cool. No, but real, I was gonna say real is rare, but straight up, when you could start actually when you start actually doing it and start being in these situations, you'll start having people start looking at you like, okay, he has the credibility. He's been in this situation. He's got an answer for that. He's been in that. He's done that. He's done this. He hasn't just read a book. That's where the credibility starts. And that's, you know, again, I've been able to do, you know, build up my credibility in, you know, 8 years. I'm 33 years old, which is relatively young, especially, you know, some of the people I meet with are obviously were doing this before logistics, supply chain, before I was even born, right? But that's my rant. Saturday, I was going to told myself I wasn't going to talk about logistics, but I got on this. I was reading this book, but if anybody wants to, I think, what the hell is it called? It's Spy the Lie. I was reading through it, but I got to read it. But anyways, guys, it's my rant. Keep it real.